Sex Talk with Erika Miley. 'Cause sexuality is tough. And okay, sex just isn't good enough. No. Sex Talk with Erika Miley.
Hey folks, welcome to Sex Talk with Erika Miley. Erika Miley here. Hello. This is episode 69. Guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about 69. We're going to talk about the sex position 69. I'm not going to do anything lame like 69 facts about the position 69. No. I do want to talk some history because y'all, I'd be shocked if you don't know by now I'm a giant nerd. So you got a little history coming at you. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about how to make this a little easier, because I think many people, and I've heard this from clients, I've heard this from people just trying to figure this position out and how to do it comfortably. We're going to tackle this a little bit because I want you to be able to enjoy this and have some fun with it and not feel so stressed about how to do this position. So let's dive right in. I can't help myself. We're going to talk a little history right out the gate, okay? And I might butcher this. And so those of you who speak French, I apologize in advance. So 69 is also known by a French name, which is Soixante Neuf. I'm probably killing that, and I apologize. It's essentially a group of sex positions in which two people align themselves, so put genitals to face and face to genitals near. And I know that many people get kind of hung up on position of mouth to genitals. And more than anything, really, this is connected to people's body shape and size. So not body shape like width, but like length, because sometimes this can be difficult if somebody has a longer torso or whatever the case may be. So essentially, the participants will form the numbers 69. That's why the name is 69. So it can involve any combination of gender identities or genitalia configurations. Sometimes this is also called double rimming. So this can include like mutual analingus. So I think that that's also good to include here. Often people, they talk about how much stimulation you can experience during this time, but also it can feel a little distracting for those who are trying to experience pleasure for themselves or they're trying to pleasure their partner. So sometimes this can get awkward. So I promise we're going to jump into how we can make this position a little bit easier on you. But back to the history. I'm using Wikipedia, bless Wikipedia. So some of this stuff may or may not be perfectly accurate and I'm sure all of my academic friends out there are like, why are you using Wikipedia? Because it's a really, really easy resource and it's easy for people to understand. So essentially, there's some reference to the ancient Chinese yin and yang, so the symbols for male and female. And the French term soixante neuf is not traced back any earlier than what they call the Whore's Catechisms. So it's just not, all the words I'm going to use are not necessarily appropriate for today. But many of these terms come from roughly the 1790s in France and are attributed to an early leader in the French Revolution. I think it's Millet. And so I could spend all day on this, but essentially, it appears that the 69 was preserved on an oil lamp and reproduced in Dr. Gaston Warburg's portfolio. And there's then a very long German word that I'm not even going to attempt, showing the woman lying on top of a man. Dr. Warburg gives this to be the period of roughly the Roman Caesars. However, another oil lamp of the same kind showing the 69 almost identically is recently reproduced in a full color plate. So essentially, this was documented on essentially an oil lamp. So this, at least it's where there was first kind of a visual of this position. There's also some evidence that there was a Hindu temple sculpture from sacred caverns on the island of Elephanta near Mumbai in India, showing the position with a man. This sculptured fragment is both discussed and illustrated by Richard Payne's Night, a discourse on the worship of Priapus, privately issued for the Dilettanti Society in London in 1786. So we're talking old, folks. The demonstrations of this position have been around for a very, very long time. And so this is not new to culture. This is not new to any like sex books of today. This position has been illustrated on various items in various books and writings since roughly 1780s, 1790s. So the Kama Sutra also mentions this sex position, albeit by a different name. And this is directly a quote. So it says, when a man and a woman lie down in inverted order, i.e. with the head towards the feet and the other to carry on mouth, congress, which it is called Congress of the Crow. So congress is also another word, for those of you who do not know, for essentially the act of intercourse. So that's a lot of history. And there's, there's far, far more. I mean, if you are interested in some of the, like actually seeing this lamp, I'll provide a reference in the show notes so that you can kind of get an idea of what I was talking about. And if you want to give a shot at trying out some of these German words and French words and do better than me, go right ahead. I will make sure all of the resources are in the show notes. Quick break from the action, folks. Action. I just want to tell you about my Patreon. Every week, I bring you guests and seriously, lots of sex nerdery. Help me keep doing that by becoming a supporter. What do you get in return? Cool perks. For real. I am going to be doing shout outs, stickers, a bunch of stuff. So check it out at erikamiley.com/Patreon. That's erikamiley.com/Patreon. I hope to see you and see more of you by becoming a Patreon. Thanks, guys. So let's talk a little bit about how to, I don't know if master is the right word, how to really enjoy this position. I think enjoyment is what you're looking for. I think fun is what you're looking for when it comes to this position, because really this is a difficult position to take very seriously, honestly. So let's talk about some ways that you can improve your experience. So one of the first ways I encourage people to explore is with hands. So I mean, as you start to use your tongue, as you start to use your mouth, use your hands as well. That means you can also play with other spots on the body, spots that might be a turn on for your partner. So you could play with the testicles, you could play with the perineum on a male-bodied person, or you can also use your hands to maybe touch the anus or the rim of the anus, which has a lot of nerve endings. So again, turning this into as sensual of an experience as you possibly can might be helpful. Next, I really want you to think about this as not just genitals in your face. So it might be helpful to really focus on almost the mindfulness experience of this and pay attention to the skin, the temperature of the skin. What does it feel like to breathe onto your partner? Next, I would even think a vibrator might be appropriate here. Sometimes when you're using your mouth, you get very, very focused, and it can be awkward, as I've already mentioned. So no matter how many pillows are involved, no matter how you get yourself into this position, it might be helpful to add a vibrator to add more sensation so that you can really focus on the pleasure of it rather than how awkward you may or may not feel. This also might be helpful to lay on your side. This might actually be the most comfortable way to attempt this position. is to lay on your side and have your partner lay on their side as well. So then that way you are doing, there'd be less risk of muscle strain, because let's be real, that is a possibility here. We're all not 22 and flexible. So you may need to get on your side and allow for some comfortability while you are trying to attempt this. You can almost use each other's thighs as almost kind of like a pillow. So then that way you're not going to strain your neck either. So I would also encourage folks to play with your oral sex skills in this situation. So using hands, playing with the frequency of use of hands, but also the speed, go in circles, maybe take longer or shorter strokes. And I'm not just talking about male-bodied people or female-bodied people. I'm talking about you can use any part of your arsenal here and be checking in with your partner. Does this feel good? Do you like this? How does that feel? And have fun with it. And enjoy the sensations. Use your words. I'm gonna pull out, those instructions from being a kid. Use your words, because honestly, that will absolutely help you in this situation when you're trying to understand how to do this better. And again, I think this position brings its own set of feeling awkward or feeling like you're doing it wrong, in quotation marks. But here's the reality. If you take the time to allow yourself to use a little humor, you might have a little bit more fun than you think. So, all that being said, I've introduced you to some history. We've talked a little bit about how to make this position a little easier on you and even stay away from some of the injuries. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear how you've attempted this, what your experience was, and if you're going to be willing to do it again. Sometimes this is a position that many people say, oh, I tried that. I'm never doing it again. So let me know. Let me know in the comments on social media. I would love to know how you've experienced this, if you're willing, but also like how you've gotten some really good results. So if you've got some advice, some interesting tips or tricks to doing this position that maybe I haven't covered here, please include them. I would love to hear from you what has helped, especially for those different body types. If somebody's taller or shorter, this can be a tough position to try just because of that. So thank you all. 69 episodes. I am just flabbergasted, and I appreciate all of your support. I have been getting emails and comments from all of you out there saying that the podcast is helpful to you. Thank you so much for sticking around. And if you are interested, I do have a Patreon. I would love for you to join. Just search Sex Talk with Erika Miley. It'll come right up for you on the Patreon website. And I have been adding more and more content there. Oh, also, I would encourage you to jump on iTunes and leave a review. Not for my ego by any means, but that's what gets this podcast heard. I don't know why. There is an algorithm. Apple has an algorithm. I don't understand. Those are things I don't understand. But please jump on, leave a 5-star review. You can even just say that you had a good day. I don't care. Jump on there, leave a review, and I can reach more people and give them great content. I did get an email recently saying that we're charting in sexuality in Great Britain. So awesome, folks in Great Britain. Thanks for listening. I'm so glad you're here. So everybody, I am so glad to be with you week after week. Thanks so much for listening to the end, and I will see you next time. Thanks for listening, folks. Please rate and review on iTunes. It helps this podcast get found. If you leave a 5-star review, let me know about it on any social media, and I'll shout you out on the podcast. You can find my website at erikamiley.com. You can find me on Facebook, the Gram, and Twitter. See y'all next time.